Do not turn away even for a second, because the moment you look elsewhere, that mannequin will appear right behind you and will not stop following you until your final breath. The film begins with three robbers stopping a truck carrying valuable goods. The truck turns out to be transporting a mysterious item worth an extremely high price. Taking advantage of the situation, the robbers knock the truck driver unconscious and quickly search the truck. They discover a large crate, which they assume contains something extremely valuable. However, when they open it, they find only a mysterious mannequin inside. At first, they think the mannequin could still be worth a lot of money, but everything changes when the mannequin suddenly moves and kills anyone who makes eye contact with it. The three robbers are immediately murdered by the mysterious mannequin. When the killings occur, the truck driver wakes up and is shocked to see the mannequin killing people. He runs to save himself, but unfortunately, he gets hit by a woman named Frankie. Frankie is shocked because the driver suddenly appeared in the middle of the road. Through her rearview mirror, she faintly sees the mannequin watching her from outside the car. Shortly after the police arrived to investigate, they interview Frankie, the only eyewitness. Frankie explains that the driver ran toward her car, and because she was driving fast, she couldn't avoid him and ended up hitting him, killing him. The police ask if she saw anyone chasing the driver, but Frankie says she doesn't know and didn't see anyone else. After giving her statement, Frankie is allowed to go home. Free to go. Hey hun, Frankie currently lives with her boyfriend Steve. They have been together for a long time and plan to move to a big city after graduating college to pursue better careers. However, after the accident, Frankie can't focus on anything. She keeps remembering the strange mannequin she saw. Even when she's alone at home, she feels like the mannequin is watching her every move. Every time she turns around to check, there's nothing there. Music. In the middle of this tension, Frankie is startled by the arrival of her friend Lucy. Frankie tells Lucy that she has been feeling watched by a mysterious figure, possibly hiding behind the closet. They check together, but find nothing. That night, Frankie goes to a nightclub with her friends Lucy, Jonah, Drake, Madison, Isabel, Lewis, and Molly. Frankie just wants to forget her troubles for a while. Among her friends, she is closest to Jonah because they have known each other the longest. Frankie confides in Jonah about the mysterious figure watching her, even at home, ever since the accident days earlier. Jonah thinks she is just temporarily traumatized and hallucinating. But while they are talking, right behind Frankie, Jonah faintly sees the same mannequin she was talking about. However, Jonah assumes it was just a hallucination caused by the alcohol he drank earlier. Then Isabel tells them they should go home because Lewis got kicked out of the club for causing trouble. Everyone leaves the club except Molly and Frankie. Molly asks Frankie to stay with her because a guy is interested in Molly. Before partying again, Molly gives Frankie a pill to help her relax. They start partying together. But in the middle of the party, Frankie suddenly feels dizzy and nauseous. You want to dance? She heads to the restroom, and when she returns to the dance floor, she is shocked to find everyone in the club dead. Only Molly and Frankie remain. Besides Molly, the same mannequin that has been following Frankie is also there. Frankie is convinced the mannequin is responsible for the massacre. Molly and Frankie run in panic to escape, but sadly the mannequin kills Molly. Frankie is devastated and horrified to see Molly die right in front of her. She rushes to find her other friends to tell them what happened to Molly. They are all shocked to learn Molly has died so tragically. The police soon arrive and question Frankie about the case. Frankie explains that the killing was done by a cursed mannequin. However, the police are confused by her story and decide to leave. Since it's already late, Jonah asks to go home first. On his way home, Jonah feels the same mannequin following him. nervous. He keeps walking while glancing behind him from time to time. At first, he fears the mannequin will hurt him, but luckily, it only follows him without attempting to kill him. Music, applause. Meanwhile, at home, Frankie feels extremely guilty about Molly's death and the deaths at the club. She's convinced the murderer is the cursed mannequin that has been haunting her recently. Steve tries to comfort her and tells her not to blame herself. He says the police will definitely catch whoever is responsible. Even though Frankie explains everything about the cursed mannequin, Steve doesn't believe her, which makes Frankie sad. I need you to believe. The next afternoon, Jonah visits Frankie's house. He tells her about being followed by the mannequin, and this experience makes him fully believe Frankie's story. Jonah also searched for information about the cursed mannequin and found a disturbing video. In the video, a woman cries and screams for help, saying she has been terrorized by the same mannequin that is now haunting Frankie. Moments later, the woman is killed by the mannequin. The video proves the mannequin is truly dangerous and capable of killing people. Frankie then calls the rest of her friends to come to her house. She explains everything about the cursed mannequin and tells them to be alert because it can appear anywhere at any time. To convince them, Frankie and Jonah show the video they watched earlier. Even then, the others still have doubts. A heated argument breaks out between Frankie and Jonah and their friends. Suddenly, Frankie sees the mannequin outside the house. When they look again, the mannequin moves closer to them on its own. Seeing this, Frankie's friends finally believe the mannequin exists. Just then, Steve arrives. Hey guys, I'm so sorry everyone. Frankie wants to show in the mannequin, but it suddenly disappears. Steve assumes Frankie is hallucinating again and making up the story. He asks Frankie to stop talking about the mannequin. Since it's late, Steve tells everyone to go home. Me too, no, puts the idea in our minds. Elsewhere, we see Lewis on his way home after leaving Frankie's house. As usual, he goes for a swim as part of his routine. He swims alone, with no one else around. While he's focused on swimming, he doesn't realize the mannequin has been following him. Feeling something strange, Lewis starts looking around, and suddenly he is drowned by the mannequin, killing him. The next morning, Frankie sneaks out of the house without Steve knowing. She feels uneasy and wants to solve this problem as soon as possible. Not wanting to worry Steve, she secretly goes to meet her other friends. On her way, she suddenly receives a call from Jonah. Jonah explains that yesterday he left a comment asking for help on the video post of the woman who was terrorized by the cursed mannequin. Someone named Victor replied to him and offered to help stop the mannequin. Victor is currently on his way to Frankie's location. Jonah tells Frankie to gather the others before it's too late. Without wasting time, Frankie calls her friends to meet up, but unfortunately she is too late. Madison and Isabel have already been killed by the mannequin. The surviving friends decide to take shelter in Frankie's house. There, Drake blames Frankie for the death of his girlfriend Madison. He says if Frankie hadn't seen the mannequin, none of this would have happened. Fed up, Drake says he wants to go home. Jonah immediately stops him. Jonah believes that anyone who has seen the mannequin shouldn't be out in public because if other people see it following them, those people will also be targeted. From Jonah's explanation, Frankie realizes the reason the mannequin hasn't killed her yet. It wants to use her as a way to spread its terror to others. Wherever Frankie goes, the mannequin follows, and anyone who sees it becomes another victim. If this continues, the cursed mannequin's terror will spread even wider. In the middle of their conversation, Steve arrives and is shocked to see everyone gathered in the house. Already fed up with the mannequin situation, Steve begins yelling in frustration. He's also angry because he thinks Jonah and Frankie have been cheating behind his back, even though they have been close friends for years, and Jonah is only trying to help Frankie deal with the cursed mannequin. From outside the house, they all see the mannequin appear. They observe it closely and notice that it moves only when they look away. The mannequin stays still as long as someone keeps watching it. And right now, Lucy is the one staring at it. They come up with a plan to take turns watching the mannequin so it can't move. I told you not everyone looked away. Music. While waiting for their turns, Jonah and Frankie talk alone. It becomes clear Jonah has feelings for Frankie, but she chose to date Steve instead. Unknown to them, Steve is watching from a distance, feeling jealous. After talking to Jonah, Frankie goes to look for Steve, but instead finds his thesis filled with the word mannequin. It seems Steve has been terrorized by the mannequin all along and kept it secret, so Frankie wouldn't worry. Frankie then goes outside and finds Steve preparing to burn the mannequin. Without hesitation, Steve sets it on fire. Steve does this to prove to everyone that the mannequin is just a normal mannequin. But shortly after burning it, disaster strikes. The mannequin suddenly beheads Steve. Whatever you do, don't look away. Listen to John. Oh, Frankie. Moments later, the mannequin disappears again. They realize they must quickly find it, and once they do, they must keep staring at it so it can't move. Unfortunately, while searching, Drake ends up getting killed by the mannequin. At the same time, the doorbell rings. It's Victor. Victor begins telling his story. His family was once terrorized by this cursed mannequin. His daughter was the first victim, followed by his wife and people around him. One by one, they died suddenly because of the mannequin's curse. Victor is the only one who survived because he lost his eyesight and therefore cannot see the mannequin. Although he lived, his life became empty after losing everyone he loved. Knowing he was the only one unaffected by the curse, Victor dedicated the past 30 years to hunting the mannequin. Finally, a week ago, Victor managed to track it down and planned to bury it at his home to stop the curse. But something unexpected happened. The mannequin was freed by a group of robbers. Because of that, the cursed mannequin has returned to spread terror. After finishing his story, Victor asks Frankie to make him a drink. Jonah follows her to the kitchen. While preparing the drink, Frankie sees the mannequin outside the house. She tells Jonah to call Victor and Lucy. But when Jonah reaches the living room, he is shocked to see Victor killing Lucy. Victor's back. It turns out Victor came to Frankie's house not to help, but to kill everyone who has seen the cursed mannequin. Victor believes that by killing them, the curse can be stopped from spreading further. After murdering Lucy, Victor attacks Jonah, causing him to fall. Victor then heads to the kitchen to kill Frankie. Frankie, who has been staring at the mannequin so it doesn't disappear, starts to panic when Jonah, Lucy, and Victor don't return. Suddenly, Victor attacks her. Because Victor's blind, Frankie uses his weakness to dodge his attacks while still trying to keep her eyes on the mannequin, which keeps moving closer and closer to her. No matter how cleverly Frankie tries to evade Victor, he can still sense her presence and track her down. On it, you were cursed. There was no saving you, authority, son. Music. Luckily, Jonah turns out to still be alive. Gathering his remaining strength, he acts quickly to save Frankie. And in a brutal struggle, Jonah kills Victor. Afterward, Frankie and Jonah flee the house, but Jonah collapses from his injuries. Frankie realizes that if she keeps running, the mannequin will continue to follow her and spread terror to more people. Determined to end it once and for all, she bravely goes back inside to find the mannequin. Music. When she finally locates it, she locks eyes with the mannequin, then traps it inside a large crate. With that, the mannequin is sealed, and Frankie plans to send it away to a secret location. In the final scene, Frankie and Jonah are shown alive. Having survived the nightmare, Frankie tells Jonah about her plan to move to another city to pursue her dreams. During their conversation, it's revealed that they've successfully captured the mannequin and locked it inside the crate. The crate is now being transported to a secret, remote place, far from human reach. They both hope this will finally end the cursed mannequin's terror and prevent any more deaths. But tragically, during the delivery, two shipping workers open the crate out of curiosity, releasing the mannequin once again.